Hi, I'm Wheeler Winston Dixon, James Ryan Professor of Film Studies at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and this is Frame by Frame. And today I want to talk about Alfred Hitchcock's iconic 1960 thriller Psycho. I'm not going to give away the plot because there are some people out there who have not seen it. When I ran it a couple of years ago around Halloween in my film class, right before the screening, I suddenly said to myself, wait a minute, I bet half the audience hasn't seen it. And so when I asked for a show of hands, sure enough, half of them had not seen it. So we'll leave that part out, but it's a very violent film. And it really pushes the censorship barrier. There is a shower murder scene that's very famous, which I don't think is giving anything away. But the interesting thing about this is that he was making his television series at Universal, and he wanted to shoot this film. But Paramount was his theatrical distributor, and they didn't like the script of Psycho at all. They thought it was too violent and too kinky, too outre. And so they basically said, we're not going to fund it. So Hitchcock actually put up $860,000 of his own money to make the film in return for 60% ownership of the negative. And the film was shot at Universal with a Universal TV crew, yet released through Paramount, which is one of the oddest circumstances in cinema history, the only film to date that's really happened that way. The film opened, was an enormous smash. Hitchcock owned 60% of the negative from the first dollar gross. His agent, Lou Wasserman, head of Universal MCA, sent him a telegram saying, how are you going to top this? And of course, unfortunately, he never did, but commercially, it was his greatest success. It also marked the beginning of a new sort of trend in film criticism. Bosley Crowther in the New York Times called it a blot on an otherwise honorable career, whereas more prescient critics picked up on the film and said that this is something absolutely new in cinema history. Tony Perkins, of course, became identified with the role of Norman Bates, Janet Leigh as well, Vera Miles in the film, John Gavin, Martin Balsam, and of course the Psycho house has become one of the iconic horror images, particularly around Halloween.
And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place.
But Psycho is the film which pretty much broke the Hitchcock mold and pushed him really into the 60s and brought along a lot of other films with it, things like The Graduate, Midnight Cowboy, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and other films which basically pushed the censorship barrier and led to the disruption of the code, all from the mind of Alfred Hitchcock. I'm Wheeler Winston Dixon, and this is Frame by Frame.